Hello and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Bassi. A state high court sitting in Ede, Osun State has denied the bail application of the former acting vice chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, Anthony Elujoba. The presiding judge, David Oladimeji, ordered the accused to be remanded in Ilesha prison pending the determination of his bail application. Anthony Elujoba is being tried for alleged 1.5 billion naira fraud. The case has been adjourned till 19th of July 2017. Meanwhile, 19 new judges have been appointed by the President for the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. The appointment is part of efforts to strengthen the National Industrial Court, which is a major service point for justice dispensation in the labor and economy arm of the government. This appointment brings to 38 the number of judges in the National Industrial Court. The 19 new judges will be sworn in on Friday by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Experts have called for a reform and effective implementation of the federal character principle, especially in public sector recruitment, if the country must make meaningful progress. This formed part of views by guests while discussing the topic, federal character and meritocracy, on NTA's breakfast program, Good Morning Nigeria. Joy Uzo reports.
The Character Commission, introduced in 1979 after the Civil War, was to promote national integration and to address the fears of sections of the country which felt marginalized. The principle was also designed to ensure that public service appointments reflect the country's diversity, religious, ethnic, geographical and linguistic, and by extension that resource allocation reflects the fact that Nigeria operates a federal system. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria said the seeming abuse of this policy is partially responsible for the slow progress over the years and called for a check on the trend.
Nigerians must forget that the country belongs to all of us. They should forget about nepotism, they should forget about tribalism, they should forget about, yes, this is my state. And secondly, we should now look at the Constitution very seriously. I always tell people that I find it very sad for somebody from either Borno or from Yobe or from Ebonyi or from Lagos State or from Anambra who has stayed in certain part of Nigeria for more than 35 years or 20 years, and yet they are not being classified as they belong to that.
Or even civil service position is also applicable in the distribution of infrastructure. I'm actually one of those who have been arguing that I've actually argued that we need to elevate the Federal Character Commission itself, give it some level to the status of INEC. But then it means it has to come up.
They argued that fears of marginalization that had suppressed merit in recruitments into the public service were largely unfounded, as qualified Nigerians could be found in every part of the country.
We need to have set down criteria, eligibility criteria, set standards for these to happen and follow strictly on the standards, not watering them down.
People of Nigeria must wake up and really want to be Nigerians and do things properly like they do in other places, so that we don't kill ourselves and use things like federal character as excuse for killing ourselves.
The Federal Character Commission, the guest said, needs a reform to serve its original purpose of promoting unity and cross-national integration in all facets of national life. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The Senate has called for immediate assistance to victims of recent flood in Niger and Lagos states. This followed the point of order raised by Senator David Umaru on the need for the release of quick funds to assist areas affected by the devastation. Senator David Umaru also called on NEMA to, as a matter of urgency, provide relief materials to affected communities.
Call on government to at all levels take seriously weather forecast and flood predictions by NIMET, and always take proactive measures to minimize loss of lives and properties associated with flooding and other natural disasters.
Senate President Bukola Saraki read the prayers, which were all granted.
Levels to take seriously weather forecasts, flood predictions by NIMET and others, and always take proactive measures to minimize loss of lives and properties associated with flooding and other natural disasters. Those in favor of prayer, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
And from the House of Representatives, a motion moved by Representative Lado Suleja of Niger State on the matters of urgent public importance called the attention of legislators to the devastation arising from flooding in Suleja and other parts of the country. Here is National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye with the details.
Thank you, Studio. The urgent matter of public importance, that is the issue of the devastating consequences of flood on the lives of Nigerians in the country, has dominated proceedings of the floor of the House today. And with me is the leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who will talk more on this issue with us. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
You told us in the proceedings that this is a perennial problem that we see every year. So what I want to ask you is, how does this, can we check this perennial problem, as you call it?
Well, checking it is really what this motion was about. It's not laying blames or apportioning blames. It's about checking the problem and looking for solutions. Like I said on the floor, it's a perennial problem year in, year out. If we're not careful, we're going to be back here next year talking about the same thing. I'm talking about 100 lives lost and property damaged. Now, we don't want to put a stop to that. Government needs to be more proactive. And I'm not talking about Lagos State government, because Lagos State government is doing all it can. But we need to talk about the collaboration between Lagos State and federal government. And that's why this motion was brought on the floor today.
I also have with me Honorable Lado Suleja, who moved for this motion to be discussed under urgent public importance. Thank you for your time as well, sir.
Thank you.
So what can you tell us about what ordinary Nigerians can do to check what the leaders said is a perennial problem?
Yeah, actually, as has been mentioned by the leader, the federal government need to be more proactive on addressing these issues. As today, ecological challenges is what we're facing, and which includes erosion control. I think the federal government should create a kind of synergy between the state government and the federal government on addressing these issues.
Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, on that note, I will be back later in the day to give you a comprehensive report on proceedings of the House. And for now, it is back to you in the studio.
Many thanks, Dennis. Wife of Nigeria's President Aisha Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians to continue to support government programs and policies geared towards improving healthcare and girl-child education across the country. Mrs. Buhari made the call at the inaugural lecture in memory of late Minister of Health, Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin in London. Bilkisu Abdulrazak Odoye has details.
Mrs. Aisha Buhari described the former Minister of Health and Executive Director, United Nations Population Fund, as a patriotic and committed Nigerian with passion for quality healthcare service, stressing that the legacies of the late minister must not be forgotten.
I remember Professor Oshotimehin as a mentor while developing the idea that led to the formation of my Future Assured program that shares his vision on women and children in Nigeria. We must do what we can to carry the torch and continue to make the difference under the Future Assured.
Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, and other speakers described Professor Oshotimehin as a true global leader committed to issues affecting the girl child, improving maternal mortality rates, and access to public health.
As he stated at the London Family Planning Summit in 2012, until every girl and every woman and everybody, wherever they may be, can access reproductive health services, especially family planning, the work shall not be done.
But what is partly important is for us to continue to propagate and sustain that legacy of deep commitment to family planning, girl child education, sexual reproductive health and rights.
He was a champion of gender equality and a staunch defender of the health and rights of all people, especially women and girls.
The Oshotimehin family, represented by the daughter Omolola, expressed the appreciation of the family for the support and encomiums.
His legacy, his work, hopefully will then become the norm, so that young girls all around the world can and have rights, have privileges, and be able to live the life that he dreamt for me.
Late Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin will be remembered for providing a strong voice on issues affecting young women, child marriage, and female genital mutilation. In London, Belkisu Abdurazak Oduoyi, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, reports say Nigeria has the highest number of unimmunized children and is second country with the highest infant and maternal morbidity rate in the world. Executive Director, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, made the disclosure at the flag-off of the 2017 Sub-National Immunization Plus Days in Sokoto. Dalhatu Abdullahi has the details.
The national flag-off of the Sub-National Immunization Plus Days in Wamako Local Government, Sokoto State, is part of the recent strategies evolved by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to further fast-track the eradication process of poliomyelitis. Flagging of the Sub-National Immunization Plus Days, Chairman Northern Traditional Rulers Council on Polio Eradication, Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, said they will continue to be actively involved in the campaign against poliomyelitis while challenging governments to ensure proper budget implementation to guarantee even development in all sectors. The Sultan tasked the parents to ensure that no child is missed in the vaccination. Sokoto State Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol said ensuring health for all remains the hallmark of his administration, hence the allocation of 16% of 2017 state budget to the health sector. He challenged the local government council chairman in the state to be active and regular in the monthly immunization review meetings with stakeholders. Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, said the agency is determined to change the poor indices on the routine immunization in Nigeria for the better. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the Maiden Creative Industry Roundtable held in Lagos. The minister stated this at the end of the various submissions aimed at proffering solution to the development and growth of the industry. Anthony Forson has that.
From the financial sector to the media world, contributions came from all segments tailored at making the creative industry vibrant.
I believe strongly that based on what I've heard sitting here, we can actually have billionaires in dollars come out of Nigeria's creative sector.
There is need for intervention, for funding, in order to take the stage up to where it's supposed to be.
For others, they applauded the Information and Culture Minister's zeal and commitment to the industry.
The political will being demonstrated by the mere fact that the Minister of Information and Culture has come out to say this is what he wants to do.
For me, it's a platform that, will provide answers to questions, and then these answers will definitely bring about the much needed solutions that will impact on the industry.
We've taken concrete decisions that we start implementing in 2 days, in 48 hours.
Right now, it's about the creative industry taking the lead. The creative industry telling government what we want.
This is a platform and a pilot program to be able to see how individuals, through their talent, their skills, etc., to generate and be part of this creative industry.
For us at the ministry is that we have recognized that this industry can only be private sector driven, and we must engage on business-like decisions making that would grow the industry and will support the industry.
The minister later announced that the feedback from the roundtable will feed into a larger event tagged the Creative Industry Financing Conference, slated for 17th to 18th this month in Lagos. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Lagos Network Center has more reports on the activities of the Information and Culture Minister. Jennifer is ready with this story and other reports. Jennifer, it's over to you.
Which is expected to be a major employer of labor when it takes off.
While laying the foundation for the new office and residential accommodation for the proposed Muhammadu Buhari cantonment, embedded with schools and five-star hotel, the Minister of Defense, Mansour Dan Ali, noted that government has put in place measures to address security challenges.
Today, groundbreaking ceremony and the commission of infantry patrol vehicle is in line with the several concrete steps line of realization of the armed forces set out in the transformation agenda.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, received his Malian counterpart, Colonel Major Abdulrahman Babi, who sought the cooperation of the Nigerian Army in training Malian troops in the areas of armor and artillery for effective counter-insurgency operations in Mali. From the Nigerian Army headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
You're still on to Nationwide. Enforcement of Clean Up Edo project commences as Polytechnic education stakeholders meet in Ekiti. Obehi brings us details from Benin Network Center. Over to you, Obehi. We seem to be having challenges. We'll go on to Benin much later in our bulletin. The Nigerian Air Force has inaugurated a liquid oxygen plant. The oxygen plant to
deliver the required services.
The lab-based solar has more or less become my second.
We apologize for that. Moving on now. All stalled power projects in different parts of Nigeria will be speedily completed in line with the present administration's policy thrust of incremental power supply. Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola made the commitment at the commissioning of a 2x60 MVA transmission substation in Kukwaba, Abuja. Mayor Ogidi reports.
This transmission substation adds 120 megawatts of electricity into the national grid, with Abuja being the immediate beneficiary. Besides improving power in some areas within the Federal Capital Territory, it will reduce load shedding, technical losses, relay electricity to the rest 3 substations in the FCT, and reduce duration in tracing faulty lines.
Customers now will have more than one source, meaning that if there's a fault on the source which is supplying them, we'll be able to switch them to another source.
For the Power, Works and Housing Ministry, there will be harvest of power projects inauguration, as no project will be left unattended to, just as local contractors rise to the occasion.
It delayed up to this point because of lack of funding.
Going forward, let us deliver timely.
Soon after the inauguration of the power project, key players in the generation, transmission and distribution arms of the power value chain went into a closed-door meeting which lasted over 3 hours, deliberating essentially on how to increase power supply in the country and customer service-related issues.
The focus on customer service is also why, from the outset, we have focused on metering. It is an issue that agitates the mind of Nigerians who wish to pay only for what they consume, that ensure that TCN's wheeling capability delivers energy to where the distribution companies need it.
Other issues discussed at the meeting include extending power supply to more areas, engaging security outfits to curb electricity theft, and payment of electricity supplied to distribution companies through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Mie Ogede, NT News.
This is Nationwide. Let's take a break for some messages. The news returns shortly. Don't go away.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Nigeria's central stage in championing the fight against corruption, as endorsed by the African Union, is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive, educative, and informative. Join us.
The Future Assured project of the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is carrying out free medical screening and distribution of food items at various IDP camps while ensuring the economic empowerment of women through training and skill acquisition. In recognition of her efforts, wives of governors have lent their voices and support.
In Kogi State, we feel the impact of Future Assured, especially in women and children.
The Future Assured program of Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, the wife of the president, has been very assuring and still reassuring in Sokoto State. It has impacted positively in the areas of humanity, especially women and children.
Supports the Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
NTA Television College Jaws, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is again organizing 4-week short courses in the following areas: intermediate television presentation techniques and basic camera operations, date 17th July to 11th August 2017, and intermediate television journalism, date 14th August to 8th September 2017. Venue for all courses will be at the college premises, NTA Television College, Refi Jaws. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. The courses have been designed to put participants on the professional broadcast track for both studio and location camera operations, exposing TV presenters on how to develop their own unique on-screen presence and persona, learning how to break down the script to bring words to life, and to improve journalists' writing skills, English and grammar, learning excellent interviewing skills with critical thinking. If you have a knack for TV broadcasting, then don't miss this opportunity. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you want to be.
The masters of the game are coming from different parts of the world.
Are you ready?
Watch 14 of Europe's elite teams battle it out from the 16th to the 31st of July 2017. China,
Singapore. And USA will play host to the best footballers on the planet. Don't blink, because you just might miss the exhilarating action. Watch all games live and exclusive on StarTimes. Don't miss it. Subscribe for 2 months and get 2 weeks free on any bouquet. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Welcome back. Thanks for being there. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We now go back to Edo as Obey is standing by with report of enforcement of Clean Up Edo project as it commences and Polytechnic education holders meet in Ekiti. Obey, take it over.
Hello, Lydia, and thank you for joining us in Benin. Edo State government says the decision to keep Edo clean is a task that must be achieved. Hence, stringent measures have been put in place to check violators of environmental sanitation laws. This was when the officials of the task force on Clean Up Edo took to some major markets in Benin City to sensitize the people. Good luck, Enaini reports.
Petition to clean up Edo State began 2 months ago when the Obaseki-led administration embarked on the demolition of illegal structures around urban markets, Ring Road, and adjoining streets in order to restore sanity to the areas. It is in a bid to take this further that the task force visited the markets in New Benin, Ekiosa, Uselu, and Uliha, where they educated traders on the need to respect environmental laws. The traders were asked to stay within the perimeter of the markets and avoid trading on the walkways. Leader of the team and acting general manager Edo State Waste Management Board, Mr. Ayemehue Akonofua, said those doing business 1 kilometer radius from any heap of refuse will henceforth be made to evacuate such refuse or be prosecuted. Equally, any market where waste is found will be closed indefinitely.
We have gone around, we have sensitized them. Henceforth, the market is supposed to be free of debt. All waste, refuse generated in the market, they are to be kept within the perimeter fence of the market.
We also enjoined all commercial bus drivers in the state to make available small waste bins in their vehicles. In Benin, I am Goodluck Inaini, NT News.
Government at all levels have been charged to improve the standard of education to enhance economic and technological development in the country. This was part of stakeholders' submission at the end of the 88th National ESCO Council meeting of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics held in Ado-Ekiti. Kola Adebubuyi reports.
A gathering which brought together persons from the academia from different polytechnics and monotechnics across the country was an opportunity to examine the state and standard of vocational and technological education in Nigeria and provide solutions that could engender the needed growth in the sector. National President, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, Usman Duse, believes polytechnic education is in danger as a result of lack of funds and decayed infrastructure in the country, hence the need for urgent attention to improve the system.
Technology education is capital intensive, where we need adequate funds to replace and improve the standard of our machines and equipment.
Government must demonstrate the political will. It is eventual establishment.
Rector, Federal Polytechnic at Ado-Ekiti, Dr. Taiwo Akande observed that industrial actions have turned the country's educational system, especially the polytechnic subsector, to war fronts, and suggested that the system must be made conducive to be a center of excellence to impact society and solve problems. In Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adebubuyi, NT News.
Tragedy struck the NTA Benin Network Center over the weekend when a news reporter with the authority Lawrence Okoje was shot dead by unknown assailants at about 9 o'clock in the evening. Steve Lunai Wonkolo reports that the management of the NTA Benin Network Center paid a condolence visit to the family.
The news department of NTA Benin Network Center, which had been thrown into a sorrowful and crestfallen mood since 2 days ago when the news of Lawrence's death broke out, commenced Tuesday's activities with a prayer section led by the manager news and current affairs, Mrs. Mary Enyang, amidst the observance of a minute silence for the repose of the departed soul of Lawrence Okoje. The assistant director news, Dauju White, in an emotion-laden speech, described Lawrence's death as tragic, devastating, and traumatic for all, especially the news department of NTA Benin.
It is tragic for us as a family, very tragic. It's really traumatic for me. And I know for the rest of us, particularly those who have had contact with him for several years, it's like a dream. It is yet to really dawn on us, but that's what it is.
Responding to the murder case, Edo State Commissioner of Police, Haliru Gwandu, who told NTA management staff who were in his office to lodge a formal complaint, said that the suspect had already been arrested in connection with the murder case. Meanwhile, residents of the departed Lawrence Okoje has continued to attract myriad of sympathizers, including members of the NTA family, especially the news department, as well as colleagues of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Edo State Council, and other media houses to commiserate with the family. Lawrence Okoje, a reporter with NTA Benin Network Center, was shot dead at about 9 o'clock p.m. on Saturday while returning from work by unknown assailants. In Benin, Steve Lona and Waokolo, NTA News.
And that's it from our end here. Lydia, is over to you for the rest of Nationwide News.
Thank you, Obehi. Very sad news indeed. May his soul rest in peace. We now go back to Lagos Network Center, where Jennifer is standing by with more reports on the activities of the Information and Culture Minister. Jennifer, it's back to you.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has stressed the need for the management of the Nigerian Television Authority to re-strategize to be more visible and compete favorably with other television stations in Lagos. Amechi Pius reports that he gave this advice when he visited the Lagos Network Center to assess the level of damage of the following the last Saturday's flood in Lagos.
It was a fact-finding mission by Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who was taking round some operational areas of the NTA Lagos Network Center. The minister inspected the canal that passes through the NTA to the Naval Dockyard on Victoria Island, as well as the studio. He assured the management of NTA that measures will be put in place to guard against a reoccurrence. At a meeting later with management, Lai Mohammed stressed that there is an urgent need for the NTA to be more proactive and take advantage of the Lagos market, given the strategic nature of the state in the broadcast industry.
Our transmitters in Lagos are very, in very bad shape. They don't even reach the reach of our transmitters in Lagos. I never got to know this. Two is that there is a disconnect between our marketing department and the advertisers.
NTA's Director General Yakubu Ibn Muhammad told the minister that already NTA is upgrading its equipment and developing capacity to reposition Africa's largest television network.
How to engage with the advertisers, and see how we can move forward. But already, like I said, we've already started, making moves, to turn things around.
Zonal Director of the NTA Lagos Network Center puts the minister's visit in perspective.
We are happy that he came and equally seen by himself what happened. He has already said that we should do officially, that we should communicate to him so that he can reach out to the Chief of Naval Staff so that if there's any form of blockage at the end there, they can intervene.
In Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
Increase in Hajj fares this year is subjected to prevailing global economic challenges and the current exchange rate situation in the country. This was made known at the Stakeholder Sensitization Forum organized in Lagos to shed more light on the 2017 Hajj operations by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. Musa Toliat has the details.
Charge of Policy, Personnel Management and Finance, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Yusuf Ibrahim said one major contributory factor to the increment in Hajj fares is the additional cost placed on aviation operations, accommodation, feeding, and transportation to various holy sites by the Saudi Arabian authorities. He, however, lauded the efforts by the federal government to make foreign exchange available to the Commission at the official rate of 305 naira.
By the time they look at the indexes of Hajj, which are all dollar components, that's why we are calling all the imam to educate people in their mosque.
Southwest coordinator of NACON, Imam Fuad Adeyemi, assured the ulamas and officials of state Hajj operations that measures have been put in place to ensure flawless luggage management and a hitch-free airlift arrangements.
In Saudi Arabia, their policies are changing, their system are changing, their mode of operations are changing. The issue of accommodation in Mecca and Medina has just been reconsolidated to make it better.
On our own part, we used to encourage them, sensitize them, and even pray for each other to make sure that God provides for them to complete the payment.
There was a question and answer session to clarify grey areas to the tour operators, clerics and state Hajj operation officials in attendance. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide News. The news continues in Abuja. Stay with us.
Many thanks, Jennifer. The AYA flyover that will convey traffic from the Abuja-Kefi Expressway in and out of Abuja will be open to the public by the end of this month. FCT Minister Musa Bello stated this when he inspected the project as well as the ongoing Millennium Tower project in Abuja. Mitai Rekwen reports.
Finishing touches are ongoing by the contractor to complete the AYA flyover started since January 2010. The bridge connects commuters from the Yanya-Kefi Expressway with the Goodluck Jonathan Expressway, which dissects Abuja city center and will put an end to perennial traffic gridlock when eventually opened to the public.
It fits into our program of trying to complete major infrastructure projects in the city that are, like I always say, that have the greatest impact on the greatest number of people.
The minister also inspected the 160 meters Abuja Millennium Tower and Cultural Center project, expected to attract tourism to the city and provide recreation for residents, but which has been suspended in the last 2 years for lack of funds. He says priority will be given to segments of the project.
The car park is done. It has capacity for 1,200 motor vehicles. Go around Abuja, you see so many vehicles parked on the streets. So obviously this is something that is a solution for what we already have in the city.
The concept of the Millennium Tower is to give Abuja a symbol that it will be known for globally, and when completed, it is expected to provide residents and visitors a unique environment for socialization and entertainment in Abuja. Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
Thanks, Mitaire. Even in the face of near victory over Boko Haram, Nigeria and Cameroon are not resting on their oars as they re-strategize. Let's join Naomi in Maiduguri for this and other reports. Naomi, good to see you.
You too, Lydia, and welcome to Maiduguri. Towards ending Boko Haram insurgency on the Nigerian and Cameroonian borders, bilateral talks between troops of the two countries was held at the headquarters Theater Command, Operation Lafia Doli in Maiduguri. Memuna Garba reports.
The bilateral meeting centered more on exploring ways for better cooperation between the troops to rid the countries of terrorism. Other security issues like intelligence sharing between the two countries was given much emphasis, considering the fact that now the Boko Haram terrorists have been decimated, hence the need for the countries to work toward achieving their goals of terror-free zone.
There are also other multilateral arrangements in place, like you're aware of, be they the MNJTF, and indeed all other arrangements. So this is a platform for us to meet and iron out things. We're thinking of joint operations on both sides. We're thinking of sharing intelligence, sharing information, all towards the counter-insurgency efforts.
Theater Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru said such bilateral meetings will be a routine one with the countries of the Lake Chad Basin aimed at strengthening troops' relationship. On his part, leader of the Cameroonian troops, Brigadier General Nkam Valerie, reiterated Cameroonian support in the counter-insurgency operations.
We are really satisfied with the discussion we had with our Nigerian colleagues about the fight against Boko Haram. You know, as he said, the commander said, we have done it. Cameroon joined the fight against Boko Haram in 2014, and we have been doing it bilaterally or also at the multilateral level.
With this synergy, it is expected that more robust plan will be in the pipeline. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Borno State government says everything possible will be done to revive celebration of annual cultural festivals of the various tribes and communities following the restoration of peace in the state. The state deputy governor Usman Mamandurkwa stated this while speaking at the Margi Cultural Day, stressing that this will further deepen peaceful coexistence being enjoyed by the residents. Yagum Subakar reports.
Borno State, where the story of Boko Haram terrorism all began, suffered greatly in all aspects of life for the 7 years of insurgency in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Described by many as the worst humanitarian crisis which destroyed and displaced various communities, took the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration only 2 years with the commitment of the Nigerian armed forces and resilience of the people to bring it to a halt. Who would have thought the last Eid prayer would have been marked in some communities in Borno State that returned recently, and even with fanfare in places like Askiroba and Ganzai local government areas of the state. But it happened, and now the government is talking about reviving cultural festivals.
Here from the speech of His Excellency, he's calling on every tribe to emulate what my people are doing. And for us, I need everyone to bring back our culture. So honestly, I was impressed.
Deputy Governor Usman Mamandurkwa said the revival of the festivals becomes necessary for the younger generation to contribute meaningfully to the society. Such occasions, according to him, will foster unity and understanding among people. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has approved 11 additional registration centers in Borno State to ensure that all eligible voters are captured in the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise. This came to the fore during a press briefing held at the state quarters of the commission in Maiduguri. Amina Fidi Ahmadu has the details.
The voters' registration exercise was flagged off on the 27th of April in most local government areas of the state, while those not accessible were provided centers at designated IDPs camp. Administrative Secretary INEC Borno State Abdulhamid Buba, while briefing the press, said Borno is among the 5 states out of the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, where highest number of registration was recorded in the ongoing exercise.
Total number of new registered voters as at July 2017 stand at 47,572.
Abdulhamid Buba said the additional centers are sited at Askiroba, Bama, Biu, Dambua, Goza, Jere, and Konduga local government areas. Others are MMC, Mobar, and Gala. The administrative secretary said that meetings were held with relevant stakeholders to inform them on the new development. He restated that it is an offense to register more than once, adding that the voter's card has other uses such as identification in banks and other official transactions. The registration exercise will end 60 days to election. In Maiduguri, Amina Fidi Amadou, NTA News.
And that does it from Maiduguri. It's back to Lydia in Abuja for more reports on NTA Nationwide.
Thank you, Naomi. The Director General, National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Suleiman Zakari Kazauri, has encouraged prospective retirees of the scheme to be optimistic about the future. He stated this in a message delivered at a two-day pre-retirement workshop organized for staff of the scheme in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Suleiman Musa has details.
Presented by the Director of Human Resource Management of NYSC, Comfort Makinde, the DG urged the staff of the scheme who are due for retirement to remain focused and take the training as a platform for designing their life after years of service.
They should pay attention and concentrate very well on the training, because life after retirement is very challenging, so that they can pick one or two things that they can lay hands upon after retirement.
Some participants acknowledged the importance of the training and pledged to utilize the ideas and skills acquired.
It will help us to know how to plan and be able to coordinate any business we want to fall into as we retire.
So this type of training is to prepare one for eventualities.
The workshop is an annual program designed for retiring staff of the scheme to prepare them for life ahead. From Kefi, Suleiman Ovemusa, NTA News.
Youths emphasize on Nigeria's indivisibility as more tributes pour in for late elder statesman Maitama Sule. Abdullahi is in Kaduna. Hello, Abdullahi.
Hello, Lydia. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Hello, Lydia. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Hello, Lydia. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Leadership of concerned youth groups from across the country have declared one voice support for One Nigeria. The youth groups from the Southeast, South, and their counterparts in the North made their stand known at the National Executive Council meeting of the Arewa Consultative Forum in Kaduna. Benny Adams reports.
Coming on the heels of agitations for secession and restructuring, the youth from various interest groups unequivocally declared their support for an indivisible Nigeria and called on leaders from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to bring their youth under one umbrella to galvanize support for One Nigeria.
Even your President Igbo and Igbo leaders of thought have met last week Sunday at Nickel Lake Hotel and said they believe in one country, Nigeria. If there is any differences, the elders should meet at their own level and discuss about the differences. The youths should also meet at their own level and discuss about it. Let the problems of the North be the problems of the Igbo. The problems of the Igbo be the problems of the North. Let's share the same. When we cry, let's cry together. And when we smile, let's smile together. Let's celebrate one unity of a country. Let's demonstrate our faith for this country.
Yes, the South people, we want to be together as one Nigeria. That is our message.
Nigeria is a country for all of us. We have to do whatever we can to keep it one. And here and now, we have resolved.
Ibrahim Kumasi is the chairman, Arewa Consultative Forum.
Things are coming up now. Unity is on the offing, and everybody should cooperate.
The Arewa Youth for Peace and Development Initiative, alongside the coalition of Igbo patriots for United Nigeria, have promised to take the One Nigeria campaign across the country. In Kaduna, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Thank you, Benny. Some old students and contemporaries of the late Damasin Kanu Alhaji Yusuf Maitama Sule have described him as a nationalist who spent his life propagating the ideals of peaceful coexistence between the diverse people of Nigeria. This follows the demise of the political icon and orator who was laid to rest in Kanu. The report.
Hospitals, adult education classes, schools, bridges and roads are all built and made for your own benefit.
The Damasin in Kanu Alhaji Yusuf Maitama Sule was a man who saw it all and conquered. Even before rising to prominence, he became a model to many as a school teacher.
He was a young teacher and he was very brilliant. I knew him, and he was always very jovial with the students, although he was a teacher, but in fact his room was inside the compound.
In '56, I was in Form 3 in Government College, Kefi. He was one of the teachers around then.
And as the youngest member of parliament and chief whip in the Federal House of Representatives between 1955 and '56, he kept many glued to their radio to listen to his eloquent submissions during debates in the House.
Himself and Motara Salchimbai, the present district head of Dambata. They were the greatest debaters. There is hardly a day in a debate without calling their names. And in the south, we had late Dr. Udo Udoma. Horatio Ageda will report, and then at the end of it, he will say, and the debate continues.
Nigerians who share his nationalistic views say his legacies will live on.
And he's a professor many times over in his native Hausa. He is at home with very high and very low.
His last major assignment for Nigeria was representing the country at the United Nations.
And that's it from here, Lydia. It's over to you now.
Thank you, Abdullahi. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate the Population Day for 2017, experts are advocating provoked strategies that would bring the nation's population growth under control. They say demographic dividend is the way to go.
We need to appreciate if this is an advantage or disadvantage. Let us think if we can double to remain at the level of development we are today. Can we double all the schools? Can we double all the hospitals? Can we double all the social amenities that we need at this time in less than 20 years? I think that's the way to look at it. And from all that we know, a 3.2% of growth rate is a bit high. It's not about the absolute population, it's the rate of population that is not too good.
And now foreign news. Time for a look at stories trending in the foreign scene with Oku Ekwenyong as our guide.
Hello there and welcome to this segment of the news. At least 16 people have died after a U.S. plane crashed in the southern state of Mississippi Monday night. The crash happened in LaFour County, about 100 miles north of Jackson, the state capital. The county's emergency management director, Fred Randall, said all 16 victims were on the Marine Corps aircraft and that there were no survivors. Donald Trump Jr. was told that material on Hillary Clinton offered by a Russian lawyer was part of a Russian government's efforts to help his father's election campaign. Reports say publicist Rob Goldstone, who arranged the June 2016 meeting with the lawyers, stated this in an email. Mr. Trump Jr. has defended attending the meeting, saying the promised damaging information did not materialize. U.S. officials are investigating alleged Russian meddling in the U.S. election. A breakthrough has occurred in health as a vaccine has for the first time been shown to protect against the sexually transmitted infection, gonorrhea. Scientists in New Zealand say there are fears that gonorrhea is becoming untreatable as antibiotics fail. The World Health Organization sees developing a vaccine as crucial in stopping the global spread of super gonorrhea. And that's it from this end. The news continues. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Oku. Sports is next. Super Eagles eye qualification for 2018 Africa Nations Championship in Kenya as Novak Djokovic reaches the quarterfinal at Wimbledon. Ayodeji Makinde is our guide on Sports Update.